The Princes in the Tower. In the year 1483, England was shaken by one of its darkest succession crises. After the death of King Edward IV, his 12-year-old son Edward V was proclaimed king. Alongside him stood his younger brother, Richard of Shrewsbury, Duke of York. However, their uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester, claimed that Edward IV's marriage had been invalid, rendering his sons illegitimate. Richard seized the throne as Richard III, and the boys were moved to the Tower of London, officially for their protection. Soon afterward, both princes disappeared from historical record. Their fate has never been conclusively established. Many contemporaries believe they were murdered, perhaps on the orders of Richard III, though no direct evidence was ever found. The mystery of the princes in the Tower has remained unsolved for more than 5 centuries, symbolising the brutal power struggles of the Wars of the Roses. Their disappearance paved the way for the rise of the Tudor dynasty, as Henry Tudor defeated Richard at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485 and established a new royal house, Crown Prince Sado, a tragic end in Joseon, Korea. Crown Prince Sado of Joseon was born in the year 1735 as the son of King Yongjo of Korea. His early life was marked by immense expectations, yet his behaviour soon caused deep concern within the royal court. Historical records, particularly the memoirs of his wife Lady Hyegyong, describe Sado as mentally unstable and prone to violent outbursts. He was accused of committing brutal acts against servants and even members of the court, which strained his already fragile relationship with his father. King Yongjo, desperate to maintain stability and preserve the dynasty, faced a dilemma. Executing his heir would shame the royal family, but allowing his actions to continue threatened the state. In 1762, the king ordered Sado to be confined in a large wooden rice chest, where he died after several days of suffocation and starvation. His tragic death shocked the court and remains one of the most infamous royal episodes in Korean history. Despite his downfall, his son would later ascend the throne as King Jongjo, remembered as one of Korea's most enlightened rulers. John I of France, the posthumous king. John I of France, known as the Posthumous, was born in the year 1316, after the death of his father, King Louis X. His birth was celebrated with immense anticipation, as he was the direct heir to the Capetian dynasty. Upon entering the world, the infant immediately became King of France, making him one of the few monarchs in history to be crowned at birth. Yet his reign lasted only a handful of days. The young king died under mysterious circumstances, and rumours quickly spread that he had been poisoned or secretly replaced by another child. His death triggered a succession crisis. With no surviving male heir of Louis X, the crown passed to his uncle, Philip V, who invoked principles that later shaped the Salic law, excluding women from the line of succession. This decision planted the seeds of disputes that would later erupt into the 100 Years' War between France and England. The brief and tragic reign of John I remains a striking example of how the fate of a dynasty could hinge on the survival of a single child. Shehzade Mustafa, the lost sultan of the Ottomans. Shehzade Mustafa, born in the year 1515, was the eldest son of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the most powerful ruler of the Ottoman Empire. From a young age, Mustafa earned admiration for his courage, intelligence, and leadership. He was deeply popular among both the common people and the elite Janissary corps, who regarded him as the ideal heir to the throne. However, the Ottoman court was rife with intrigue. Hurrem Sultan, also known as Roxolana, the favoured consort of Suleiman, sought to secure the succession for her own sons. Through political manoeuvring and accusations of conspiracy, Mustafa was accused of treason against his father. During the Persian campaign in the year 1553, Suleiman ordered Mustafa to be strangled in the camp at Konya by his own Janissaries. The execution shocked the empire, as many had seen him as the future hope of Ottoman greatness. His death is remembered as a pivotal moment, marking the decline from the empire's golden age toward an era of internal strife and instability. Jeanne la Beltraneja and the struggle for Castile. Jeanne of Castile, born in the year 1462, was the only daughter of King Henry IV of Castile. Her claim to the throne was contested from the start, as rumours spread that she was not the king's legitimate child, but the daughter of the nobleman Beltran de la Cueva. This earned her the derisive nickname La Beltraneja. When Henry died in 1474, Jeanne declared her right to rule. She gained the backing of Portugal, even marrying King Afonso V, as well as parts of the Castilian nobility. Her rival was her Aunt Isabella of Castile, who was swiftly proclaimed queen. The succession dispute led to the War of the Castilian Succession between 1475 and 1479. The key moment came at the Battle of Toro in 1476. Militarily inconclusive, it was a political victory for Isabella, as she secured the loyalty of most of the nobility. The Peace of Alcáçovas in 1479 confirmed Isabella's triumph. Jeanne retired to a convent in Portugal, disappearing from politics. Isabella and her husband Ferdinand of Aragon united their realms, laying the foundation of a unified Spain and the future Spanish Empire. Tsarevich Dmitry and the Time of Troubles. Dmitry Ivanovich, the youngest son of Ivan IV the Terrible, was born as the last male heir of the Rurikid dynasty in direct line. After Ivan's death in 1584, the throne passed to his elder half-brother, Tsar Fyodor, who was weak in health, mentally limited, and childless. Dmitry lived in exile with his mother in the town of Uglich. In the year 1591, the young prince died under mysterious circumstances. The official explanation claimed an epileptic seizure had caused him to fall on a knife, yet many believed he was deliberately murdered to clear the path of succession. With Fyodor's death in 1598 without heirs, the Rurikid dynasty came to an end. Russia descended into the so-called Time of Troubles, a chaotic era marked by famine, peasant uprisings, dynastic struggles, and foreign interventions, especially from Poland. Several impostors, known as the false Dmitris, claimed to be the miraculously saved prince. One even briefly ruled as Tsar from 1505 to 1506. The crisis ended only in 1613 when the Boyar Council elected Michael Romanov as Tsar, establishing the Romanov dynasty that would rule Russia until 1917. Louis XVII, the lost Dauphin of France. Louis Saint-Charles, born in the year 1785, was the second son of King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette. After the death of his elder brother, he became Dauphin of France. When his father was executed in January 1793, royalists proclaimed the boy as King Louis XVII, though he never ruled. At only 8 years old, he was imprisoned in the Temple Tower in Paris. Revolutionaries kept him in strict isolation, forcing him to testify against his mother and leaving him in appalling conditions. On the 8th of June 1795, Louis Charles died at the age of 10, officially from tuberculosis. Though neglect, malnutrition, and abuse played a decisive role, he was buried hastily without royal honours. Because so few witnesses saw the body, rumours quickly spread that the prince had been smuggled out or exchanged. Over the following decades, more than 30 impostors claimed to be the surviving Louis XVII. His tragic fate became one of the most powerful martyr myths of the French monarchy, haunting French politics throughout the 19th century. Crown Prince Rudolf, the Mayerling tragedy. Crown Prince Rudolf of Austria, born in 1858, was the only son of Emperor Franz Joseph I and Empress Elizabeth, known as Sisi. Intelligent and liberal-minded, he often clashed with his conservative father over politics and reform. Despite being heir to one of Europe's most powerful thrones, Rudolf grew increasingly isolated and troubled. On the 30th of January 1889, he was found dead at his hunting lodge in Mayerling, alongside his mistress, Baroness Mary Vetsera. The official verdict declared a suicide pact, though speculation about murder and conspiracy has never disappeared. His sudden death shocked the Habsburg monarchy and left the succession uncertain. Since Rudolf had no surviving male heirs, the line of succession shifted to his uncle's branch, placing Archduke Franz Ferdinand in line for the throne. This change would later have far-reaching consequences, as the assassination of Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo in 1914 ignited the First World War.